Every day you get a do-over.
I had a lot of body dysmorphia. I knew it was bad for me, so I was avoiding it. And in turn, I just was like completely missing like meals.
I didn't have enough money to even pay for my groceries.
Is Red 40 as bad as the internet says it is?
Do you know any food resources that we can have now?
It was actually developed so you couldn't eat just one.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ease. Thanks so much for tuning in. To the visual watchers, I'm so sorry about the headphones. I'm currently using Apple headphones as a microphone. I actually got out a really professional microphone kit and the audio was terrible. Today's guest is Dr. Christopher Gardner, one of the leading experts in nutrition science. He is the director of nutrition studies at Stanford University. He's been teaching and researching food for over 2 decades. That's 20 years. I'm 23 years old for some perspective. He researches how the foods we eat affect our health, our communities, and our planet. What I really admire about Dr. Gardner is that not only is he highly qualified and respected in his field, but he's also incredibly passionate and well-spoken, and he knows how to connect with people of all ages, whether that's young people, middle people, old people. He's the kind of professor who makes nutrition feel approachable and relevant to your everyday life. This was such an engaging conversation, and I think you guys will walk away with more clarity on something that impacts all of us, which is the food we eat and put into our bodies. So without further ado, let's dive in. Right, Belly? She says yeah. Before you became a nutrition scientist, what was your diet and relationship to food like?
Oh yeah, it was total standard American diet, SAD, SAD. So grew up in New England, and mom stayed at home and made all our meals. We just had sodas, sugary breakfast cereals, and every night was either chicken or pork or hamburgers or steak or meatloaf.
That sounds so yummy.
Yeah, pretty standard American
Okay.
for many years.
For many years. And when was that shift?
Tiffany
Tiffany.
was from California. She came to New England. We worked in the same restaurant. We started living together. She moved back to California.
Is this a love?
She was vegetarian.
Wow.
I wasn't.
Wow.
She dumped me.
Tiffany.
Because you were vegetarian.
I thought, maybe I'll get her back and I'll be vegetarian. And that wasn't it. That wasn't the only thing. So she still dumped me.
So your diet changed for a woman.
It totally did. But after being dumped, so I had been a philosophy major in college. And I loved talking about morals. And as a kid, I could never go hunting or fishing. I couldn't actually even put a worm on a hook. It bothered me to put a worm. So then when I tried this vegetarian diet and it was easier than I thought, I thought, wow, this actually aligns better with my personal life. I think I'll just try it for a little longer. And that was 43 years ago.
Wow.
Ever since
Never
then.
stopped. Been vegan, vegetarian for decades and decades, still going strong. But it was because of being dumped by a girl. That was my start.
I'm so sorry, but you're healed now.
Then I was going to start a restaurant. So after being a philosophy major in college, you know what you can do with that major? You can be a barista or a waiter because it's philosophy. You don't really learn anything. So I was a waiter and a bartender and a manager of restaurants for like 6 years after college.
Wow.
It's time to grow up. I'll have to do something adult. Maybe I'll have a restaurant. And I thought, but I'll make it a vegetarian restaurant because that's what I'm now. But you know what? Before I open the restaurant, I'll go back to school. I'll get a master's degree in nutrition just so I can have some articulate kind of response. But when I was back in school with more of a purpose, I actually liked it. And kind of by mistake, I got a PhD.
By mistake.
And kind of by mistake, I got a faculty job at Stanford. And then so if you go years forward, I went from the girl to health to learning how all the stuff that we eat affects the environment. And so each thing has reinforced it, the philosophy and the environment and the animal rights and welfare, which had been a big thing for me
Definitely.
as a kid. And they actually all align around eating more plants.
So it tied in together and you're like, okay, this is what is leading me to be vegetarian. But what was the switch from vegetarian to vegan?
And so one of the books we read was Jonathan Safran Foer's Eating Animals. And I had been, ever since I was a vegetarian, I was having eggs and dairy. And it's pretty sad how they treat the dairy cows. Yeah. And so then I went vegan after I saw that. But for all of these, there's a better and a worse way to do it. It's not just a black and white.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we just eat in the US so much meat and so much cheese that they've made it very economical through these concentrated animal feeding operations. So it's just thousands and thousands of animals where they very efficiently and at low cost churn out food. And at one point in the US's history, if you go way back from a military point of view, guys were signing up for the military and they were too thin. I said, you can't make it. And so there was an old Secretary of Ag named Earl Butz who said, okay, just plant food, fence row to fence row. Plant lots of corn, lots of soy, grow lots of cattle. We got to beef up these American soldiers. And they overdid it. They made too much corn and too much soy and too much beef. So I prefer to not see this as a dichotomous, vegan or not.
Yeah.
I would much rather look at it as a continuum. And so if you're going to have some meat or dairy or fish, there's always a better way to do it.
Yeah.
And a worse way to do it.
So getting into the better way to do it what would that be?
Regenerative farming, organic is better, just smaller farms. So another trick in my field is to not punitively tell people what not to eat, but tell them what to eat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Have you tried African cuisine, Asian cuisine, Middle Eastern, Latin American? Oh, let me give you this great hummus. I'm going to do this great red dish out of Ghana. Oh, these Indian dolls and things like this. And by the way, there's some meat and cheese and dairy over. Oh, you're full. Okay, well, I didn't tell you not to have that.
Yeah. I do feel like when we talk about food, it's always like what you shouldn't be doing. So it's a lot of like, no. So it almost feels like you're so limited to like, okay, what do I eat then? Because I feel like this is what I'm like, I see at the store. I think a lot of it comes from eating bad foods, comes from the ignorance of not really knowing like what we could replace it with and like what's in our food. So yeah, so even like hearing you talking about all of these different cultures and different types of foods, I'm like, oh, I want to try that. I didn't even know that was like a dish. And like, do we have it here in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
There isn't really a U.S. diet. So if you were looking for a U.S. diet, what would people if you went around the world and said, so what's classic American cuisine? I think they would say fast food.
Yeah, burgers, fries,
What about the
milkshakes.
avocado toast?
I don't think that's classic American, but it's great. So how often have you had groats? Do you even know what groats are? It's the whole oat. So what about steel cut oats? So steel cut oats, if you've had them and bought them and looked at them, they're cut, but they're the whole oat. Nothing's been taken out of them. And then there's rolled oats. And some of the rolled oats take a really long time to cook. And some of the rolled oats are quick. You can cook them in 3 minutes. So as you go from groats to steel cut oats to rolled oats to quick oats to like oat candy,
Yeah.
So it's limited.
it's sort of how processed it is.
Oh.
And what they've done at each step along the way is make it more convenient. And Americans fear inconvenience. They hate inconvenience. Everything to be convenient. They want it 24/7. They want it fast and they want it cheap and they want it accessible. And so the market has responded and that's there. So because it takes hours to cook oats, they have quick rolled oats. To be honest and fair, when it was hard for people to get enough food, this was making it shelf stable, economical, accessible for people. We just went too far.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that because I've heard a lot online that people are like, okay, don't eat oats anymore. It spikes your blood sugar.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's because of the process, or now after you've explained it, it's definitely because of how processed it is and like the chemicals that they have to put in.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, because I do think that there's a lot of talk on the internet, especially in my like age group, yeah, my generation. But I did kind of I wanted to go back to how we were talking about you switching your diet from a normal American diet to vegetarian and then eventually veganism. I feel like even myself, I want to take steps towards just eating healthier and like just having good food that nourishes and also like gives me the right amount of energy, because I know that that's like our main source of energy is our food. And I find myself, sometimes throughout the day, like getting tired, or which is like, there's like a natural period when like people get tired throughout the day. But I know for a lot of people who want to change their diet and start working towards eating healthier in any way, it can feel very overwhelming. It could feel daunting. It could feel like, where do I even start? I'm going to have to clean out my entire cabinet, pantry. What would you say is like a good start for someone who wants to improve their diet but feels it's very daunting?
It can be your food journey. So food, remember Groundhog Day, that movie where he gets to start the day over each time?
Movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So just think, okay, I'm going to try keto. I'm going to try Mediterranean. I'm going to try fasting. I'm going to try cleansing.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, if you decided you screwed up, you can just change again.
Okay.
So
true.
first, give yourself a little love and just say, all right, I'm hearing a lot of confusing messages out there. I'm going to try this thing and see how I feel, see how my energy level is. You may all be too young to go to the doctor, get your cholesterol and blood pressure and glucose checked, but you can monitor some of your health factors that way. Do you want to fast track this, or do you want to go slow? Most nutritionists have one pretty favorite saying that the best diet that you can be on is the one that you can maintain. So if you set something unrealistic for yourself, I know what to do. I'm going to buy a farm. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to grow all my own food. I'm cooking every day. And that lasted 10 minutes. You can't be perfect. And there's limited time in the day. So I would say take a look at your diet and think about what you've been reading and listening to. And like, what's the worst thing that you think you eat, that you eat the most frequently? It would make the biggest difference if you replace that one. Now, I have a colleague who approaches this in a really nice way. And her name's Michaela Kiernan. And she approached this with a group of people and said, don't just try to replace it with one thing. So you can't focus on what not to eat. You need to focus on what to eat, that positive thing. So I want you to go try 5 different things to replace it. 5, not one. And then you can think, of the 5, this was my favorite thing to replace it with, as opposed to, I've been eating this forever and ever. I'm just going to pick ice cream here. I have a quart of ice cream before I go to bed every night. I'm gaining weight. This is terrible. So instead, I'm going to have celery before I go to bed. And it's like,
that's not the one.
I'm going to have a little handful of trail mix. I actually have a guy, his name's Walter Willett. He's like the most famous nutritionist ever. He was the head of the nutrition department at Harvard for years. And his favorite is the 3 pleasures. And it's nuts, fruit, and chocolate.
Yum.
He'll go to a restaurant. He'll look at their dessert menu and he'll say, I don't really think I want anything on this dessert. It looks like a ton of calories and just sugar, but I'll bet you have in the back of the house some nuts and some chocolate and some fruit. Just bring me a little plate of those. And then you hit upon this, here's a little evening snack.
Yeah.
It's not that many calories. It's sort of a mix of protein, carbs, and fat by the time you get all those 3 things. Okay. I replaced my ice cream at night with that. I'll give you another simple example. So I study the microbiome now. And you brought up avocado toast earlier when we weren't on camera. And avocado toast is a favorite. And during the pandemic, I had to teach on Zoom at home, and it was super boring. Yeah. Trying to make classes a little more engaging.
Okay.
And so sometimes I would say, everybody's at home. Let's have an avocado toast challenge. So what is it you put on your avocado toast?
Oh, I would love
Were you guys making avocado toast on Zoom?
Yeah, but one in particular put kimchi on her avocado toast.
Yum. That's kind of yummy.
Fermented food. And I thought, wait a sec, I'm studying the microbiome.
Duh. Yeah. Like it's like the beets that people put on too.
For 4 years now, avocado toast with kimchi has been one of my staple breakfasts.
I have to try that.
So the original question was, how do you make it less daunting? So instead of being super restrictive and having these wildly outrageous goals, just try to change one thing at a time. One of my concerns about my whole health community is that it's been so punitive. Don't eat sugar, don't eat salt, don't eat fat, don't eat meat, don't eat this, don't have ice cream.
Yeah. All the restrictions are.
So the message needs to be, eat this, right? So a more positive message. So this idea of finding something that you like and not quitting because I gave up this thing and I tried one thing and it didn't work, so I'm going back. No, take Michaela Kiernan's idea and try multiple things. And her goal was that when you're replacing it, don't replace it with anything that is not as good. Because if it's not as good,
You won't eat it.
you're going to regret it. So you have to find something that's as good or better.
I like that your focus is more on the what to do rather than
Yes.
don't do this anymore. That's definitely been a struggle that I had, especially like going into grocery stores. I'm like, there's so many words or labels that we're trying to stick to. For example, organic, and then there's grass fed, 100% grass fed, but we don't know what's the difference with all of these food labels. How do we know what to stick to and like what actually helps?
There's another problem with the labels. The best food doesn't have a label. When you go to the produce aisle, there's no label.
Oh, that's true.
Like a broccoli.
So when you're trying to give the message of, oh, what should I look for labels? Oh, that's really nice. They have I've been looking for the organic label just as a way to simplify going grocery shopping. But then you're penalizing someone who doesn't have that extra money, when in fact, not even just fresh produce, frozen produce is actually quite often as good, sometimes better.
I was going to say, doesn't it preserve the nutrients?
So picture being at a farm and they picked it at the peak of ripeness.
Yeah.
And they froze it, so it's not going to go bad. And they ship it somewhere and you buy it and thaw it and it's fine. Whereas somebody else grew organic, but they had to pick it early. So it would ripen on the way, and it went in a truck for thousands of miles, and it sat in the back of the store, and then it got brought to the front of the store. And then by the time it got there, it was a little mealy looking, but you bought it anyway because it was organic, and you, for less money, could have had the frozen.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it is just marketing, obviously, just so that people can make money. But at the same time, every time I go in the grocery store, I end up getting much less than like what I would usually get because I get so confused.
So Marion Nestle has been famous for writing a book called What to Eat, and her simple advice is don't go in the middle of the grocery store. If it's a big supermarket, go around the outside, and that'll be the produce and the veggies and the things. And the middle is all the chips and snacks and cookies and neon colors and ultra processed things.
Yeah.
Where they just have an entire row of chips, an entire row of snacks.
The chips are good though.
And they're pretty tempting.
They are tempting. The Trader Joe's Takis.
There's a guy named Michael Moss who wrote a book called Salt, Sugar, Fat, and he did an expose on the food industry. The bliss point is they dial up and down the sugar, fat, and salt in different ways, and the crunch level and the after feel and the
I
smell.
think the crunch gets me. I need like that chew.
To the point where it's addictive. Yes. So in our community, we often sort of make fun of the old Lay's potato chip ad, which says you can't eat just one. It was actually developed so you couldn't eat just one. It was developed so when you put it in, dopamine reward pathways fired in your brain and said, okay, one more. Okay, one more. Okay, half the bag.
They're playing
Okay, the whole
us.
bag. And so this is what's going on right now in this world of ultra processed foods. That's a hot topic. And a lot of it really has been designed. And I mean, think of it. It's their business. They actually want another small share of your stomach. If this company could get another little small share of your stomach and everybody did that, they would make a little more money for their shareholders. And they're there to make money. That's their job.
So for people, I mean, I even struggle like eating chips all the time. You're saying you've mentioned that we should have 5 other options instead. One of my options was to eat like organic chip or like cleaner chips. So I was sticking to like the Siete chips.
So I don't want to dismiss that.
Yeah.
There's always a better thing. So whenever a student comes to me in class and says, is this healthy for me? I always say, instead of what, with what?
Yeah.
I said, what? I said, well, you just asked me if eating those sun chips was better than those other chips. I said, yeah, but could it have been instead of an apple? The apple would have been better. But you're really not going to eat the apple. So yes, those chips you picked were better than the other ones. So now that you put it in context and told me what your choices were, I will agree. You made a better choice than the other one. But there's a better one still. Every day you get a do-over.
Yeah.
You have to eat. Every day.
That's so fascinating.
Patient. You can be 66 and still
Yeah.
changing your diet.
A lot of people talk about Red 40 and how I've only ever heard like very negative things about Red 40. Is Red 40 as bad as the internet says it is?
Okay, so let's do a couple of perspectives here. One, it's never in red bell peppers, and it's never in anything good.
Yeah.
It's only added to junk food. It's only added to multicolored marshmallows or M&Ms to make them red or Skittles to make them red. You'll only find Red 40 in crap. It's never in healthy foods.
And that being said, I know that you've studied a lot of different diets.
That's my job.
I know you've studied like vegan, Mediterranean, keto,
Yeah.
and so many more. But what if you were to give someone advice that was about to start a diet or thinking of starting one? What would you let them know before starting any diet?
Acknowledging your culture and your heritage,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And your price point. Overall diet that I like to describe as a whole food plant-based diet. Okay, but whole foods. So you can't just buy the packaged, processed, crappy plant foods. You have to buy whole foods. It's whole instead of, oh, I found these plant-based gummy bears. I found these plant-based jelly beans. I found these junk food.
Yeah.
I found junk food.
Yeah.
But it says plant-based. So if it's whole food, it can't be. You have to sort of see the ingredient list and says, oh, this has quinoa in it. This has lentils in it. This has garbanzos in it as one of the first ingredients. Now, interestingly, we have a South Asian physician that I work with, and her population is mostly South Asians. And really hot right now is the Mediterranean diet, just as one example.
It is.
But when she says, hey, South Asians, I want you to eat Mediterranean, they say, no, that's not my culture. That's not my heritage. All that olive oil? No, I'm really much more into Indian dals and chapatis. The whole food plant-based thing would cover chana masala, and it would cover a Greek salad. And so the idea is Mediterranean actually resonates with a lot of people because it's tasty. And part of why that was popular a decade or so ago was another thing the health professionals did wrong. They really pushed low fat. You guys may be too young to know about the low fat debacle, but
Now we know the low sodium.
we overemphasized low fat. It should have been low saturated fat. And the Mediterranean diet is high fat. It's got olive oil drizzled on everything, and it's got avocados, and it's got nuts and seeds, and all of those are high in fat.
Yeah.
And so just from a taste perspective, having all those on a dish makes it a higher fat dish, but it's Mediterranean, and it's still aligned with better health.
Healthy.
Unless that's not your culture, and you'd rather eat Japanese or South Asian or Vietnamese or Latin American or Scandinavian. So all of those have options that are whole food plant-based, but it really needs to match your culture and your familiarity, or you want to stick with it.
Do you think that there's a way that we can learn from other cultures, although you are saying that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because in like what you're talking about, Mediterranean diet, but in Japanese culture, a lot of people eat miso soup and fermented veggies for digestion.
Yes, that worked for them for thousands of years. And now we're kind of reverse engineer and say, what was it? Can I put it in a jelly bean? No.
Who's putting it in a jelly bean?
This is like the American way. to make it cheap and convenient and colorful and
Okay, true. I thought someone actually put it into a jelly bean.
I'm sure somebody thought of it.
Yeah.
Probably didn't sell because it doesn't sound very tasty.
Yeah.
But Americans will find an amazing. If you really look at all the cultural diets that we've ruined in the U.S. So, we do have Vietnamese and Chinese and Japanese and all kinds of food. But if you go, it's really the American version, and they really ruined a lot of them.
That's true. I think we can learn from other cultures in the sense of like even how to eat your food too, because in American culture we're always constantly like eating in the car. We skip dinner with our family, and just to like take the time to eat. Do you think the pace at which we eat affects our digestion?
Absolutely. Oh. So not only digestion, but the biggest issue that we have in the U.S. is obesity. So it's eating too many calories, and it's really well known that as you eat more food, your GI tract is sensing the food coming down. It's sending signals to the brain, and it tells you when you're full, unless you inhale it. If you don't chew it, just there was a pizza in front of me, and now it's gone.
I do that.
How did you eat that pizza so fast?
Yeah.
You're hungry.
I know.
If you had eaten one slice and put it down, or had your miso soup and put your spoon down, or taken a bite of Greek salad with your fork and put it down, and talked, how was your day? What was your high and low? Did you have a good thing today? What was your bad thing today? Can I help listen to the bad thing? Can I help you celebrate the new thing? Oh, wait, another bite. Okay, good. Yeah. Now, and then you recognize you're full, and you stop sooner, and we'd be eating fewer calories. So of all the animal products that are out there, I think fish, yogurt, and eggs are probably the three best.
Yeah. And I like what you were saying about your colleague making an equivalent of like the Mediterranean diet. So there's different cultural foods we can eat that resemble the good stuff in the Mediterranean diet.
Plenty of great things.
Exactly.
So there is the side in the U.S. If we are the melting pot, then we should enjoy some Latin American, Asian American, African food. In fact, what I've heard, you guys can tell me if this is true. I'm very interested in people cooking more, and a couple of my colleagues have said, "Give it up. Gen Z is not going to cook." They want a ton of experiences. They want a global platter of great experiences for their life, and they're willing to try all kinds of foods. They're just not going to cook. They want to buy it.
What you were saying about affordability, when you were saying that it really revolves around affordability, can we go to that and see? Because I know that right now, a lot of people, it's been hard for some people to even afford groceries, especially with what's going on right now. There's certain food systems that are going to be cut, which I benefited a lot of from college too. In college, I would go to this free grocery store, and that was the only groceries I could afford. I didn't have, I had to pay for housing, I had to pay for my tuition, and I didn't have time, or I didn't have enough money to even pay for my groceries. And I know that a lot of people are struggling with that right now, especially with EBT being cut too. And the $200 that I did have from EBT allowed me to eat more healthy. But do you know any food resources that we can have now?
So I've heard people argue against food pantries and food banks because it's like the government should take care of this. Why is the volunteer community stepping up? And it should be the government's job.
Exactly.
Like if the USDA is here and they're trying to help farmers and maybe take some of their surplus and provide it, as opposed to some of the food pantries, they're getting so much better at this, but they were giving out leftover cookies and cupcakes because that's what people were dropping off.
Yeah.
And that was actually exacerbating health disparities. So in my area, Second Harvest Food Bank won't take cupcakes, won't take cookies, won't take soda. They actually prefer money, and they'll go out and buy vegetables and produce. There is SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. There's WIC, Women, Infants, and Children. There are a lot of food pantries and food banks, and they provide incredible services to people, but shouldn't the government do a better job here of expanding things like SNAP and WIC, not cutting back on them?
With all of like the cuts being made in America, what is the future of how Americans eat
Yeah, well, these are exciting and terrifying times. So, I mean, there's new possibilities, there's different organizations rising and having an impact, and there's new regulations and administrative issues that will be terrifying. So today is a horrible day to ask me, just because things are changing so fast, but there really are a whole bunch of entrepreneurial folks working on this. I'm really, again, excited about my work with the chefs and the institutional food settings. So one of my best partners right now is Nora Latour, who works with Eat Real. And Eat Real is school-based. It's K-12 based.
I've heard of it.
And they actually provide a certification for a school district. And they come in with 10 metrics. And they'll say, okay, we're looking at the menus that your school serves. And we're looking where you source your food from. And we're looking at food waste issues. And we have a set of recommendations for you. And we're going to give you a year and see which of those domains you can improve in. And at the end of the year, we're going to reassess you. And if you've done this, we're going to give you either a bronze or a silver or a gold or a platinum certification. And her client base is growing rapidly. So all kinds of schools are adopting this, and they're saving money on waste. And it actually pays attention to the school staff as well. Like, are you treating your kitchen staff, the lunch ladies, with respect? And what kind of equipment do you have? If you could buy this equipment, you could do this thing better. So there's some real opportunities out there of people who are making progress in that area. So here's another place where you could bring chefs in. And here's a place where over the years, they got rid of more and more of the kitchen equipment in schools. And they just had knives and microwaves. So they would open a box and microwave it and put it out. So some schools are getting grants to put more kitchen equipment in for scratch cooking. And once they had that, they could do more cooking, and that would save some cost. So there's along those lines, there are a bunch of growing ideas and people doing fabulous things, and we need to find them and support them.
Wow, that's amazing. So kind of going back to our generation and just like how we're learning about how to take care of our bodies because we realize that it makes an impact in the long term. My family on my dad's side has a history of diabetes, and my father has type 2 diabetes. So he'll make jokes to me and he'll kind of be like, you got to be careful. If having diabetes runs in your bloodline or heart disease, is it inevitable for you to get it? Are you like destined to get it? Is there anything that we could do to prevent it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you are more at risk. If you have a family risk, you are more at risk. But it really then boils down to what can you do in that range. So I have massive heart disease in my family. My dad died after 10 cardiovascular procedures. His brother died at 40 of a heart attack. His other brother died of a heart attack.
So you're very aware.
Yeah, so I'm very aware. So like if you blood cholesterol checked, it can be maybe in this range or it could be in this range. And I feel like I was cursed. I am in this range because of my family. But through diet and exercise and things like that, I can be at the bottom of my range. Picture somebody else who got born lucky and they have this range down here and they do everything wrong. Cholesterol is still lower than mine. Doesn't that suck?
Like you're doing all the work.
They could have been even better. So part of it is a curse. Part of it is I can do everything right and still be worse off in some regards than somebody else. But I can do the best I can. Yeah, so I'm not totally cursed. Like if I just say, oh, it's all fatalistic, there's nothing I can do, and I'm at the upper end of my range, then I'm going to be like my dad and he had 2 open heart surgeries. I'm 66 so far. I'm really healthy.
We got some calls in from our audience about certain guilty pleasures that they like, and we kind of want to get your input on that.
Okay.
So if you can play them, that'd be amazing.
Takis with cream cheese and peppers. So you put the pepper, so you cut the pepper, there's like a hole in the pepper, and you put the cream cheese around it, and you put Takis inside.
Your reaction is so funny. I've tried that myself, you guys, and it was
Is it really good?
It was good. It was it's that thing that you were talking about. It's the crunch that gets you
from the Takis.
yeah,
And the
it's
spice.
Yeah, literally, it's a jalapeno with cream cheese Takis inside. It was also a viral trend online, so a lot of people my age were trying it.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
So wait, it's in a jalapeno?
It's
Yay! Yay, vegetable.
Jalapeno?
Right?
That's right.
So isn't that a whole food? They put it in a whole food. Is that better than having Takis with cream cheese on it? Absolutely. Because you had the jalapeno with it.
Actually, good point.
Okay, true.
Right? And what if that's a fun splurge that you have once in a while that keeps you going? So the problem with Americans is, so one of my favorite chefs has a 80% rule. She eats really well 80% of the time, and 20% she has fun. Because food should be fun. Until the 20 becomes 30 and 40 and 50 and 60. So that sounded very creative.
That sounded tasty.
So there's all kinds of variations in that where you could make it healthier and healthier. Yeah. And if you gave it completely up, you'd be sad. It's like, I invented this crazy thing or it went viral. Yeah. And once a week or once a month I'll have it. I'm just not going to have it every day.
Yeah, definitely. I do think it's like one thing that you like. I tried it once. I was like, I get it. But then I was like, I'll revisit this in like 5 years, 10 years. I'll be back, but like in 5 years.
That's true. You have a good point. Like, don't feel like basically have a healthy relationship with food.
Yeah. Okay. Voicemail number 2, please.
Okay, so my favorite midnight snack is either bread with butter or tortilla with butter. And if I'm in the mood for something sweet, I like to put cinnamon and sugar on it.
That's so delicious. A sweet treat. I love a tortilla with a lot of butter on it. It is my favorite snack. And also when the tortilla is like fresh. Oh, it's so yummy. It's just like a comfort snack. What can we replace it with?
You just had white refined flour and saturated fat butter and sugar in that cinnamony thing.
Yep.
So those are all the worst things in one. So you should have it once in a while. It sounds fun and creative. But again, so could you go from the white flour tortilla to the wheat to the corn? Maybe not. Maybe like it loses its allure
That's true.
at that point.
Yeah.
Could you try, I don't know if this would be weird, olive oil instead of butter? Is there another kind of margarine spread or something that was made out of olive oil? So this disordered eating is just people being overly restrictive and overly obsessed. And I like the way you described it, just not having a healthy relationship with food. So that can be really detrimental to be avoiding and then all of a sudden binging later and just swinging back and forth. So if allowing yourself a few indulgences here allows you to maintain a steadier course, it's helpful.
Yeah. I definitely relate to you. I used to have an unhealthy relationship with food myself. And I know that we were talking prior to recording and you mentioned that a lot of people in our age group struggle with eating disorders. And that's like very prevalent in Gen Z. It's crazy how it can start unintentionally and then you kind of just like feed this bad habit and this like beast. I myself remember when I was going through this chapter of my life, I had a lot of body dysmorphia, so I intentionally was very cautious about what I was eating, and I wanted to eat healthy foods and foods that were good for me and healthy meals, but I didn't know where to start and how to like make them. And what I had in my pantry at the moment was like Fruit Loops and like cereal and like ramen noodles and things like very college student food is the best way I can describe it. So I knew it was bad for me, so I was avoiding it, and in turn I just was like completely missing like meals and when I was supposed to be eating, which is not good at all. And I eventually started to heal that. At the time I was dealing with depression, so I spoke to a doctor, and the doctor was helping me find ways to heal what I was dealing with, my mental health. And he said how crucial it was for me to incorporate 3 meals into my everyday with snacks in between and a good amount of exercise. And that was when I started like healing my relationship to food after like having a doctor, I don't want to say diagnose me, but tell me like, this is what you need to do to help you with this. And when I started healing that relationship with food, I saw it pour into every aspect of my life. My energy was up. I didn't feel fatigued the entire day. I didn't feel like I couldn't get any work done because I was like exhausted and just wanted to sleep. I saw it pour into my personal life and my relationships with people. So it's just crazy how like one thing affects your whole world. Fixing and healing my relationship with food was one of the best things I could have done for myself. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for being so brave to be vulnerable like that and share that, because it's so common.
It's so hard.
And it can, once you start crawling out of that, if you feel more energy, if you feel better about yourself, and it certainly isn't just eating, it is sleeping and it is exercising. And if you put those three together, you can really start to lift yourself up.
Truly, yeah. I hope anyone out there listening who can relate, I hope you feel encouraged to take that first step. So we have a final question on our show. We like to tie it back into ease, the name of the show. So how can the way we eat and think about food make us feel more at ease in our bodies and in our lives?
There's a John Muir quote, the environmentalist, who said, for certain things, when you tug on them, you find they're connected to everything. And I feel like food is connected to everything. So when you're looking at your personal values, mine happen to be animal rights and welfare and environment and community. So as you start looking at those food choices, who you buy it from, how much you spend, who you share it with, how it's making you feel, there's this incredible potential to align all your values around your food choices. And the beauty is, if you ever feel, again, like you went down the wrong path, you went too far, you get a do-over the next day.
Yeah.
And so you can keep experimenting and just keep upping your game. And saying, wow, I am feeling so healthy and energetic, and I feel like I'm helping the planet, and I feel like I'm helping these animals, and it tastes unbelievably, unapologetically delicious.
Yeah.
As you keep upping that game, it can be incredibly empowering.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you said we have a do-over and a chance to start over every single day. And that's true. Thank you so much for being on this episode today, Professor Gardner. We really appreciate all of your knowledge. It was such an honor to have you here. So thank you so much.
Such great practical questions. I really appreciate where you're coming from. And I really love your target audience.
Yeah.
You could get people started at your age on this, working on this. We'll improve health. We'll improve the planet all together. Thanks for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here and taking the time to come here.
Amazing. Okay.
Perfect.
That's a wrap.
Yes.
Thank you so much.